All right. Good afternoon, everybody. It's time for our Realtor Lender Mastermind interview. I'm your host, Zoe Azubuike, and my co-host, my dear brother, Jay Azubuike.
Up, guys?
And Jay, we have a little bit of a switcheroo today.
Yeah.
Our guest that we were going to have on today, Rosalind, she's woke up not feeling that great. And she was like, I was going to have a little bit of a nasally twang. And so he's sitting this one out, and we're going to have her back in a month or so. But Jay and I are like, you know what? We can still roll with it, you know. And I thought it'd be a great idea to go ahead and interview Jay because Jay is an up and coming top producer. He's a newbie, but be on the lookout because he's already crushing it. And I think we can learn a few great nuggets as far as lead generation. So Jay, you're gonna be kind of the guest here, but you're also still co-hosting. So do you have anything to add to that?
Not really. Not
Okay.
really. I don't really know how to ask myself questions. You probably got to handle the questions today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and
You can
hopefully
think
I
of
don't have a nasally twang. I feel like I always have a nasally twang, so I'll try to make sure my voice comes through clearly.
I was thinking that too. I love the way she put that. I know when I sing, I have a nasally twang.
I
So
don't sing for that
uh,
reason. So
I only sing in the showers and around my wife when I want to irritate her a little bit.
yeah.
But okay, cool, bro. So let's talk about first off, let's talk a little bit about your background. Obviously, I know you. You're my brother, one of my best friends, and I just love you have this grit to you and this boldness that you've always had since you were real little, and it just seems like you're able to do whatever is required to meet your goals because of that boldness. But talk a little about your background of what you were doing before you became a lender and and why kind of the transition made sense for you and was a good fit for you as far as how it suits you.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for getting me on here. It's kind of fun to get on this side of it.
Yeah.
Um, I got some really good clarity last year. Um, for some reason. I don't know where it came from, but I just got all this clarity as far as what I'm supposed to be doing with my career. Um, I I came from a banking background. I spent the last 10 years or so in banking and wealth management, relationship management, investments, financial planning, things like that. I spent 7 years at Wells and 3 years at Bank of the West. And um, I didn't ever really like it, but I do love working with people and just getting, kind of down and dirty, getting real granular with people and their finances and just trying to figure out how we can move the football down the field, kind of help them move the needle and get where they're trying to go in their life financially. So that was what kept me in the banking world because that part of it I love. But the whole time there was always a lot of fluff with banking and a lot of just retail mindset, widgets, things that don't matter to people, but for some reason internally with the companies, it was a big deal. And that's a lot of the reason why Wells Fargo got in all that trouble. Just weird stuff that they were doing. So all that stuff always rubbed me the wrong way. And I was always kind of looking for an out, but didn't really know what I was going to do. Back in 13, I almost switched to mortgage back then because uh, it. I loved the idea of it. I loved how simple it was. It was one thing that I could focus on, just mortgages instead of with banking. It's checking accounts, investments, credit cards. It's loans. There's all these things you can help with, and that doesn't work that well with my mind. So having one focus and just being able to say, I do mortgages. Do you need that? Okay. So that resonated well with me, but I wasn't able to make the transition back then, just financially going all commission at that time, and so I had to stay in the banking world longer. Anyway, last year I just had all this clarity and decided, you know what, now is probably the time because financially my wife and I are in a better spot. I really have a passion for real estate and mortgage, and that, compared to checking accounts and things like that, mortgages just have such a more meaningful impact on people's lives. You know, being able to help someone buy their first home is just huge, right? And what it can do for them long term. And most people need mortgages, and so that the demand for it is there, obviously. And then you're just helping people change their lives. So I wanted to get into it. I like the simplicity of it, and I didn't want a boss either, because I've mentioned before, my wife and I have triplets, and we have a weird schedule. We kind of have to work things out in a weird way, and I can't always be working the whole 9 to 5 thing. So I needed to be off on my own. So last year I got all this clarity and was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and make this jump, and I'm going to kind of come under Zoe's wing, and learn from him, and make this thing happen. So that's kind of
Man,
the background.
that's awesome. And for those of you guys that don't know, I kind of touched on it in the beginning. Jay's definitely crushing it right now, but let me brag on him just a little bit more. I thought I had his numbers up here somewhere. But anyway, he's already got 10 units year to date funded. Um, and the loan volume, I lost the track of that. But anyway, that's incredible for someone who just started. When was your first official month when you first got your license?
December was my first,
December.
um, yeah.
December. So you closed seven in January, and I think you're on track to close uh, five this month. You've closed three so far.
Hmm.
And yeah, so you're gonna have, by the end of this month, you'll be at 12. So, 6 deals a month after immediately just getting started. I mean, that's unheard of. Even in an industry where everyone would say, oh, well, yeah, rates are low and it's, super busy, but it's like nobody comes on as a brand new LO and does those kind of numbers. Like, that's insane. So I want you to talk about kind of your method of attack when it comes to lead generation. Like, obviously, I think your experience in banking has allowed for you to do a lot of prospecting activity in the roles that you've had. So how did you transition that over to kind of like what you talked about, a specific focus, just talking about mortgages, and then for that to quickly turn into the business that you've generated uh, up to this point?
Yeah. Well, I have this mindset, and it's massive imperfect action, and um, I try to control, and I try to think about and control what I can control. So I know I can't make anyone do a mortgage with me. That's not something I can control, but I can control how many people I talk to. And so, right from the jump, I just wanted to take massive imperfect action. I just wanted to talk to a lot of people, talk to everybody. And I have this very uh, no fluff way of talking to people, meaning, there's no salesy, gimmicky stuff going on. There's nothing, you know, uncomfortable about it. I just talk the way that I talk. Or if I'm sending a message on Facebook or LinkedIn, or um, an email or text, um, I just I just say what I'm asking for. I just say what I want, and I just put it out there. And I don't try to embellish. I don't try to use the right language. I just say what I'm looking for. And so I try to keep things real simple. Um, I I want people to know that I'm not trying to like sell them. I'm not pushy at all. Like, I hate that kind of, used car salesman type of feel. I just want to, I'm just a human being talking to a human being. And I just want to see if there's a fit. That's all. And if there's not, I don't want to bother them. So, and when I say massive imperfect action, I mean, I will do things that make sense to me, and I'll just kind of run with it without like thinking it through, and kind of trying to vet it for whether it's a smart strategy or not. For example, I do a lot of prospecting on Facebook and a lot of prospecting on LinkedIn because I told myself, well, there's people on Facebook, right? Lots of people. There's people on LinkedIn, lots of people. And chances are 90% of them either have a mortgage or know someone who does, because most of us need mortgages to buy houses nowadays. And that's as simple as it gets for me. There's people on there and they might need a mortgage. So I'm going to ask, right? Whereas someone may think that, a Facebook message is too cold or a LinkedIn message is too cold. There's warmer ways to prospect. Personally, I don't really know of a warmer way to prospect unless you're prospecting your own circle, which I do that too, of friends, people who know you, trust you, your sphere of influence, kind of like what Shay was talking about last week. Obviously, that's the most effective way to find business. So I'm doing that too. But as far as trying to reach out to the masses and try to expand my sphere, at some point you got to start talking to people who don't know who you are. And every method of doing that is cold, whether it's a cold call, whether it's something in the mail, whether it's a Facebook ad, or whether it's a message on LinkedIn or a text message, or, I mean, I guess if they're cold, you probably wouldn't even have their number. Or you would maybe, but I feel like a text message from someone you don't know feels pretty spammy. So basically, I just realize that every method of prospecting, unless it's my family or friends who already know who I am, is going to be cold and it's going to feel a little bit awkward. But I just kind of leave that alone and just send the message or just make the call. Now, I don't cold call. And it's because I try to do things that I personally would be okay with. So
And
I
when
try
you
to
say
prospect to,
cold call, you're talking about people that there's no connection.
yeah,
Basically, it's some leads that you could probably purchase online, just
yeah,
people that you wouldn't have any kind of connection outside of the fact you just found their number.
yeah, yeah. I don't, and it's not to say that cold calling is bad. Some of you might be doing cold calling. It's great. If that works for you. I personally don't like receiving cold calls. I don't like getting a telemarketing cold call. If
Right.
it's a number I don't know, I'm probably not going to answer. And the minute I hear that it's a telemarketer, I hang up. So I know that's how I feel. I also don't like it when someone comes door to door and is trying to sell me something. It's just awkward.
Mhm.
So I don't do those two things because I know how it makes me feel. So I was like, well, how can I reach out to people in a way that I would be comfortable with if I was the recipient? And honestly, I don't mind. Actually, sometimes I kind of like getting a Facebook message, LinkedIn. I'm not bothered by it. So that's what I started doing. And so today, and I've been doing this from the beginning, I try to message 100 people a day. So
That's awesome.
um, that's the strategy. Been doing that on Facebook and LinkedIn from the very beginning, but that's in addition to calling and texting everybody I know from the very beginning. Everyone knows that I do mortgage now because I've talked to everybody, and I've figured out who needs my help and who doesn't. And I did that from the very beginning. And again, it was always a very clean, simple message. Hey, I'm Jay. I'm with Edge Home Finance. I'm a mortgage broker. I'm contacting you about your mortgage situation to see if I can help. Do you need to be pre-approved for a mortgage, or do you need to refinance your current mortgage? Question mark. So
So
I do that 100 times a day.
that's really good. So I want to kind of camp on this topic of cold call slash just lead generation activity that you're doing, because I think a lot of people these days, when they hear a cold call, there's different definitions for it. And some people think that cold calling is even someone that you know, but you're hitting them up without having a reason to, right?
Right.
Because they feel like, hey, you didn't ask me to reach out to you for mortgage services or real estate services. You're just hitting me up. And some people call that cold call. And in our definition, that's not cold calling, right?
Right.
So I want to talk about that a little bit. And then the other thought of that is too, um, there's this day and age that we find ourselves in where it's the social media day and age, right? And it feels like when you hit up somebody on social media, it's not as personal as a phone call, and it's not as personal as a text. It's kind of like this. It's almost more welcomed, and it's not bothersome because that's social media activity, right? And there's this
Yeah.
new phrase in this day and age that we find ourselves in, where you can blow someone up on social media, and it doesn't feel like you're bothering them. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 1000%. I just got off a phone call with a new realtor. It was a Zoom call actually, and we had a great conversation. And this is someone I just hit up on Facebook. It was just a Facebook message, and it led to a Zoom call, and it led to really warm, genuine, good Zoom call, face to face. But it all started from a Facebook message. I totally agree. I think it's um, this generation we're in where everyone is so used to doing things online anyway, liking, commenting, posting. And I feel like just a DM on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn is just kind of another facet of that. And it doesn't bother people. Now, I think copywriting is a huge thing. Um, when I say copyright, I just mean like the words you're actually writing down, that you're sending. I think how you put things is really important, because there's a way you can put things that makes you come across salesy and gimmicky and pushy, and there's a way you can put things that makes you come across the way you are, genuine. And so I've put a lot of thought into just how I say things. And I just try to say things the way I talk, and I really try to put in something that shows them that I am not pushy. So
Give,
I'll
give us an
say
example.
something like,
Yeah, give us an example.
yeah, I'll say something like, after my normal thing, I'm Jay with Edge Home Finance, I'm a mortgage broker, calling or contacting about your mortgage situation to see how I can help. I'll say something like, if you're loyal to another lender already, I'll respect that. Or I'll say, if you're not interested, I'll back off immediately. And then I'll say, do you need to get a pre-approved or, refinance? So, and I've had people tell me, even if they say no, not interested, they'll say, no, not interested, but thanks for your approach. Or I really appreciate your approach.
Yeah, yeah,
Or, not interested right now, but thanks for being so nice about it. Or
yeah.
people will actually say that.
Because it's a different way of approaching them. They're not used
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah. And it reaffirms what I'm doing, because it's like, okay, and I've had people I've talked to either on Zoom call or whatever, or ended up doing a loan with through it, because I've literally all the loans I've done so far, I've only done one that was a family member, and all the other ones was from me either texting people or DMing people on Facebook.
Wow.
So it's working, but there's been a lot of people that have said, you know what, I could tell you were genuine from the very beginning. And I try to dig into that a little bit so I can understand what they're saying. And some of them will actually tell me it was you saying that if I had another lender that I'm loyal to, that you respect that. I just appreciated that, because it showed me that you respect loyalty, and
Yeah.
you're not going to try to push me into working with you and whatnot. So I think copywriting slash, the words you actually put down and send are really important if you're going to be doing prospecting on social or, via text or anything like that.
I love that because I think for a lot of people that are brand new to this business, um, if we're being completely honest with ourselves, we're afraid of getting that no. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
We always hear it said, oh, what's the worst that can happen? They can say no. But something inside of us doesn't like that, right?
Yeah.
Something inside of us doesn't like hearing no, even though that nothing bad happens. It's just the way a lot of us are wired. And I think what you just touched on is a different version of a no. Hey, no thanks, but right? No thanks.
Yeah.
But I actually appreciate how you worded that. I actually appreciate that you respect loyalty. I actually, that like, and you said you get that no, but you're still reaffirmed. It kind of recharges your
Mm.
batteries to
Yeah.
continue what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge. Yeah. It's so true. Like, two things. One, I kind of lower my expectations. So I'm only looking for one out of 100, I'm only looking for one positive interaction out of it per day.
Yeah.
So I lower my expectations. Usually there's more than one, but I'm not saying one loan. I'm saying one person who's like, you know what, we're not looking right now, but we'll be in the next year. And they like give me give me consent to keep in touch. That counts as one. Just some sort of warm interaction where I end up getting a relationship out of it that I can keep in touch with, and I have a whole process for that hopefully will turn into a lead or a mortgage or referral later. So if I'm only expecting one, then if I'm getting 99 no's, I'm not surprised. And then yeah, the second thing is I almost look forward to the no, because it gives me a chance to reaffirm what I was trying to show them from the first message, which is I'm not a salesy person. I'm not going to try to push you. So when they say no, and my response is, okay, great, thanks, and that's it, that's like another chance to like show them that I'm not going to push you. Like, you said no, I respect that. I'm going to let you go. I'm not,
Yeah.
a salesy kind of person here.
Yeah.
And I like doing that. And usually that's when you get the response of, you know what, thanks for your approach, or, I'll keep you in mind for next time. Like, they'll throw that in there after the fact because of my overall approach. So
How
yeah.
often do you, once you get you know, a response that's maybe not, not now, but maybe later kind of a thing, do you uh, put that person in a database for yourself as a follow-up? Do you ask them to keep you in mind if they know of anyone else that could potentially use your services? How do you handle the folks that isn't immediate, oh, we've got potentially a loan in the works? Like, what's that follow-up plan for you like?
Yeah. And that's a really important question, because um, most of the people you interact with, if they're not a no, they're going to be a later. So there needs to be some sort of engine that you have that can nurture those people and keep in touch with them. But again, I'm a very, very, very direct, practical, no fluff kind of person. And so with follow up, I don't want to do like a newsletter. I don't want to do anything that I personally know I wouldn't read or I wouldn't care about. And that's just me being really real. Um, so I've put a lot of thought into, well, what do I want to do? I want to stay top of mind with these people, because there's no way they're going to remember to call me in a year unless they remember me, right? But I don't want to bother them, number one. I don't want to blow them up every week when there's still nothing there. I still don't need a mortgage. So why are you calling me again for the third
I'm
time this month?
still, I
Yeah,
still
I'm still,
need a mortgage.
later. But but somehow I want to keep in touch. And honestly, with mortgage, there's probably more to do or more to say when it comes to being a realtor. I feel like with mortgage, I feel like there's not that much to say. Like, unless someone needs a mortgage now, there's not really much content I can put out that's truly interesting for someone if they don't need a mortgage. Because I know me personally, I'm good in this home, our rate's good, we're content. I don't really care to know anything about mortgage right now. So how can someone keep in touch with me who's a lender, um, that is not annoying to me, uh, but keeps them top of mind? So that's been like the biggest dilemma for me, and I figured out what I want to do, and it's something that I feel like works for me and works for my mindset. I have this thing called a circle, and it's equivalent to what Shay said last year. Your sphere of influence, your SOI. Anyone that is in my met group, or people that I've met, who like me, trust me, or who have said, not now, but maybe later, and have like verbally given me consent to keep in touch, right? We're not verbally, but I send a message saying, hey, can I keep in touch with you? And they say, yeah, sure. I put them into what I call my circle. I have a CRM, but I call it a circle because it makes more sense in my head that way. Um, and I get their address. I know it's kind of weird to ask someone you just met for their address, but I just do it. And the reason I ask for the address is because I like to keep in touch via mail, not email, because I don't have anything that I feel like would really jump out and make them read the email. And I know I get like 300 emails a day. I don't even read my personal email anymore. So if someone's trying to keep in touch with me via email, I'm probably not even seeing it. And I would assume it's probably similar for you, and for everyone else. I mean, we get a lot of email because there's a lot of companies out there trying to keep in touch with us via email.
Yeah.
So I don't send emails. And so I feel like mail can be that way too. You can get a lot of mail, but I know personally, I read every single piece of my mail. I at least look at it. So that was one thing I decided to, get a CRM and put everyone who is okay with me keeping in touch, including friends, family, realtors, um, and then leads in this circle in my CRM. And I only put people in there if they give me their address. If they're not comfortable with giving me their address, I'll say, that's fine. Um, and I'll say whatever, but I won't put them in my circle because I don't have their address. And this kind of goes into like scalability, and down the road when you have 5,000 people in your CRM, how do you like actually um, keep in touch with all these people without spending a million hours? Well, if you have everyone's email or you have everyone's address, there's some things you can do on a mass scale that doesn't take you any more time, but can grow as your CRM grows. But anyway, so I get their address, put them in the CRM slash circle, and I keep in touch via mail. And there's some specific unique things that are just kind of me being me, that I'll reach out for and say and do. I can get into that if you want, but that's kind of what I do with the people who are interested in me keeping in touch.
Nice. Do you think
Uh,
that social media can kind of play a part in your follow up, just organically by way of you, you know, being active on there, posting stuff every once in a while, liking their stuff? Um, but how much does that play a part in your day to day touches or
mhm.
prospecting activity?
Yeah, social is important. I used to have a rule for myself to post every day, and then I was running out of content, so I took that rule away from myself. But uh, that's the kind of activity I'd like to have is like an everyday schedule on social, because you got to leverage social media because it's a great platform. You can potentially touch several people with one post. A lot of people can see it. But one thing I told myself is to not worry so much about likes, because let's be honest, sometimes you'll post something and if it's about mortgage or real estate, it just doesn't get the engagement that, if I was to post something about my kids, it'll just instantly get more engagement than if I posted something about mortgage. And it's just human nature. People don't care as much about mortgage, what are interest rates at, or this really awesome blog that I just wrote. No one cares as much as they do about you as a person and what your life is like.
That's a good
And
point.
so I try to I try to keep it balanced and post some things about my family and myself, and that's not related to mortgage. And then sometimes I post about mortgage too. But I say don't worry about likes, because you'll get into the weeds with that, and you'll get frustrated that you only had 2 likes on this post and whatever. But I think it's more about being consistent and posting, because people are seeing it, and even if they don't click the like button, they saw it, and that helps you stay on top of their mind. And so I think it's more about just getting out there and trying to put out helpful information.
Yeah.
If you feel like it's helpful to you and it'd be helpful to someone else, put it out there. And if it gets 0 likes, don't worry about it. Just keep going the next day, do it again. Because you don't know who's actually sitting there reading it and maybe just didn't like, or just saw that, what, he or she does mortgages, or he or she is a realtor, and I'm seeing that, and they're on my mind. And if you're also doing the other stuff to try to keep in touch with someone,
Yeah.
and then I don't have like a rule for this every day, but I try to like other people's stuff and engage, because that's giving people what they would really like, which is
Yeah,
engagement on their stuff.
absolutely.
And that kind of counts for posting too, because they're seeing
Yeah.
that they're seeing your name every day. So
Yeah, I like that. I call that just impressions and touches.
yeah,
You just want
yeah,
to maximize your impressions and touches. It's kind of like, I think of myself and the people that I think of in moments when I need their services. Just like you said, people aren't always thinking about real estate and mortgages if it's not a need that they currently have.
right.
So, like for example, the family doctor or the doctor that Michelle and I have on our speed dial, we probably don't talk to him hardly ever, don't stay in touch that much, but we just know that he's a doctor, you know?
Hmm.
And so I think for us and for real estate agents, it's kind of like you want to portray that you're that advisor that someone can reach out to once it's time for them to be, because once it affects their livelihood and they're looking, for their own purposes of buying a home, it means everything at that point, right? And
Yep.
now all of a sudden they're very interested in interest rates and how the mortgage process works and everything
Yep.
like that. So you make yourself available to them because you've been top of mind with all your impressions and touches.
Yep. Yep. And there's a book that, Keller Williams and not Keller. Yeah, that's right. No, what's his name?
The
The
Keller,
dude that started Keller Williams. What's his name?
you talking about that red book?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
his,
I
what's
can't
his
think.
first name? His last name is Gary Keller. That's what it is.
Gary, yeah.
And then, Jay Papasan or whoever wrote that book, The Millionaire Realtor,
Yep.
or real estate agent. I'm not a real, I'm not a realtor, but I've read that book, and he makes a really good point, and it sticks out to me, and I always remember it. He says people only have the mental bandwidth to remember one or two realtors, um, and they just won't remember all the others. And so I think it's the same with loan officers, mortgage. It's the same with any industry, right? You probably only know of one or two doctors or chiropractic. Like, there's so much going on in our lives. I mean, I got triplets out there. My wife's out there again, just crushing it. And like we have a crazy life, and I'm sure everyone watching has just a crazy life. There's just stuff going on, and it's
Mhm.
fun. That's what life's about. But we don't have time to really remember things. I mean, I barely remember what I did 2 days ago because nothing really stuck out. Everything was in routine. It's what I always do. So nothing really
Yeah.
sticks out. So I don't remember. And my wife is awesome. She's a teacher. She can remember what we did last Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. But I can't remember what we did unless we went to Disneyland or did something really fun like that. And so I can't remember, more than a few realtors at a time or more than a few fill in the blank at a time. And so um, you're right. Doing the little things, posting often, making impressions, giving people what they genuinely want, which is to feel important, and really engaging with what they're posting, because they're putting it out there because, for whatever reason, but they want engagement. They don't like having 0 likes. And so be the person liking their stuff and commenting on it, and do several of that, each day, along with you trying to put out good content, and then do that alongside all your your direct prospecting activity. um, and then have a way to follow up with these people that you're kind of extracting from your funnel, and being able to put into a long-term follow-up type system. um, Doing all that, because now they're getting stuff in the mail from you, or whatever you're doing, and they're also seeing you online. They start to see you everywhere, and it's a lot easier to stay top of mind that way.
Nice. A few more questions for you. We'll wrap up here. Really
Yeah.
enjoyed our conversation. Hopefully, everyone out there finds it valuable. So, I know you well. So, and I think I know where it comes from, but I want to hear what your question, or your answer to this question would be. So, you have an incredible level of work ethic, which is really important when you're brand new. Um, and then you have this boldness that you've always had. Um, I guess for anyone that's brand new in this business, I'd love for them to hear, where do you think that comes from for you? And And if someone doesn't have that like innately, what would be your advice of how they can embody that and implement that? Just work ethic and just straight boldness to do what you got to do. Because those are some of your two strongest traits, I would say.
Well, it's funny you say it because I actually don't think it comes natural for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I feel like I've kind of had to cultivate it. Um, like growing up, but then even till very, very recently at Bank of the West, my last job, I get pretty nervous, like to the point where like I'm like shaking. I get pretty nervous with things. Like if I'm about to like give like a speech in front of even if it's just like 15 people, I would give like speeches or um, present things at Bank of the West to like several people, not like a huge crowd, but like several people, 15, 20 people. And I would get so nervous before it. And so no, it doesn't come natural for me, like the boldness, and I'm normal. I feel like I get nervous, and uh I'm a human. I care what people think, which isn't always a good thing. But how I get past it and how I get past the fear is number one, I had to figure this out when I was at Bank of the West. I have to truly believe in what I'm doing or what I'm saying, and it has to be my words or it has to be my way. And if it's my way of doing it and it's something that I truly believe in and passionate about and I can get behind, then almost all the nerves go away. So I realized when I was doing those presentations at Bank of the West, um, I was saying what like my boss wanted me to say, or there was some salesy, gimmicky stuff going on there, or just something that I wasn't really, honestly, I don't really believe in a lot of the products that we were selling. So, um, I didn't really feel like I was in the wealth management division. I didn't really feel like there was much to get excited about with wealth management. That our offering, it wasn't that big of a deal to me. It it wasn't something that I would buy into, or if I was a investment client, I wouldn't go with Bank of the West. And I'm not trying to badmouth Bank of the West, but that was where the nervousness came from because I couldn't actually get behind the offering myself.
Mm.
So I realized that if it's something that I can get behind and something that I truly have a passion for, or I'm
Something you believe in.
I have some conviction, yeah,
Yeah.
then most of the nerves go away. And the second thing is, I'm a strong Christian. I'm a strong believer in Jesus Christ, and I know what my identity is. And so I try to constantly remind myself that even though I'm human, and it's natural for humans to be to have insecurities, right? And to be nervous and stuff and to care what people think. All that really, really matters is what, you know, Jesus thinks of me. And so um, I try to remind myself that it's not that big of a deal what people think. And so if I'm calling someone and if they end up getting irritated because I'm asking them about mortgage, which by the way they never do, but it's something we put in our own minds that we're
Yeah.
bothering people.
Great point.
But they're never actually bothered by it, unless you're like salesy and pushy, right? But if you're just calling, asking honestly, hey, I'm a mortgage person now, didn't know if you knew, I'm trying to let all my friends know, wanted to see if you need anything when it comes to mortgage, or if there's any questions I can ask or answer for you. They don't care to get that call. They actually appreciate it, I think. So but I would get in my own head and say that I'm bothering people. And so I just try to constantly tell myself that I'm not bothering people. And but even if I was, I feel like I'm doing a service, and so I'm gonna do it, and I don't care what people think in that regard, if that makes
Yeah.
any sense. So it's kind of those two things, not really having conviction in what I'm doing it my way, and then just trying not to care so much about, because what's the worst that can happen? Like if someone like gets off the phone with you and goes on and for the rest of their lives thinks that you're annoying, like what is the real big deal with that?
Yeah.
Like, who cares? You know, like, okay, like, you know, some person doesn't like me because I called them about mortgage. That's more so their problem.
Yep.
So I just realized it's not that big of a deal. There's nothing to worry about. Just make the call. What I don't like doing is bothering people for real. So if I feel like there's something I'm doing that would actually rub someone the wrong way, um, I won't do that, because that I get real nervous when I'm about to do something like that.
Yeah.
So, um, you know, you got to do what you're comfortable with. And if you feel like there's something that you're doing that you wouldn't like done to you, or just the way you're putting things, you wouldn't take it very well, it would feel too pushy, then maybe you should change it.
Yeah. I like that. That's solid stuff right there. Yeah. If you believe in what you do and you're bringing that to people,
Hmm.
you can get behind this mentality that you're actually looking to help them. You're
Hmm.
genuinely looking to help them because you yourself believe in what you're doing.
Hmm.
So I love that. There's a lot of momentum that can be created with that. There's a lot of power with that because that's legit.
Hmm.
You're not faking yourself out. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So if you're
And then
not,
one
yeah, go
more
ahead.
thing. It's okay to be nervous, or it's okay to like not be terribly polished, or
Right.
it's okay if people feel that from you a little bit. Because and you can even say, I'm actually pretty nervous doing this. I don't like doing this. You can be real, and people appreciate real. And
Yeah.
so just get out there and do what you feel like you have to do to be successful. People aren't going to be bothered by it, most likely, if you're coming from a genuine place. And then even if you are nervous, or and that comes out a little bit, that's not a bad thing. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff, Jay. I
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing those nuggets, man. I guess we'll open it up to Q&A to our faithful, Kellen and Chantel. If y'all have any questions, and obviously if anyone who watches this later, if y'all have any questions, always feel free to hit up Jay and I with any questions within the Realtor Lender Mastermind Facebook group. But yeah, we'll open it up for any questions.
See if anyone unmutes.
Yeah, we might have covered everything.
So good afternoon.
Hey.
Yeah, I actually don't have any questions. Like, this was really awesome, so I appreciate it. But I just wanted to say, Jay, thank you for all of those nuggets. I feel like it resonated with me so much. Just talking about being genuine and authentic, because I
Mhm.
think, especially these days in business, the message is so opposite. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, just showing all your authenticity in everything that you do in business, and not being pushy, because I'm very laid back. And so
Mm.
like you said, I don't like to bother people. I don't like to feel salesy. And so just getting that confirmation that that's okay, you know,
Mhm.
um, was just great. Yeah. So
Yeah.
thank you for all of that.
Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. There's man, it besides my relationship with Jesus, my relationship with my wife and my kids and my family, there's not much more I have like more conviction about than just the concept of just being as real and genuinely yourself as you can. And um you know, like when you're talking to people, honestly, you're trying to find interest. You're not trying to create interest, right? You're trying to find someone who is in the market already to buy and needs a mortgage, or you know, in my case, and they're in the market. So they're either talking to another person, or they haven't started, you know, the process to get pre-approved. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not trying to convince someone who's not in the market and doesn't need a mortgage, or someone who has someone they love and has worked with them for 20 years kind of thing. I'm not trying to convince them to use me. I'm trying to find interest, not create it. And I think when you go into it with that approach, the minute you know, someone says, nope, not interested, you just back off, because I mean, what's the chances of actually changing their mind? It's almost zero. So it's just being real. And I'm able to go about my day with so much contentment and comfort. So I know I'm not intentionally bothering anybody. But I'm still talking to a lot of people, and I still have a shot at, you know, actually hitting my goals. So yeah, I'm glad it was helpful.
Yeah, you know, there's I say to a lot of people that we're in a relationship business, and that's the truth for whether we're real
Yeah.
estate agents or lenders. It's a relationship business, and so a lot of the things you've been talking about today is the things that make people feel that we're coming from an authentic place. You know what I mean? And that authenticity, that realness, that genuineness that you're alluding to is something that people can really get behind and trust, because relationships is ultimately built on trust. And so even if you don't know someone from Adam, there's certain things that you can sense right away because we're humans. We have this ability. God created us with wired the same DNA as far as like in his image. So we have this ability to connect in the very few instances that we're first talking to someone. Someone can sense that authenticity in you,
Yep.
you know? And if it's coming from a genuine place, you got nothing to worry about. Like it comes across naturally, and it's something that they can really latch onto and get behind because it is what it is. There's no fake behind it. And so I think the stuff you talked about is really powerful because it's the core of our business, which is relationships.
Yeah, and people are attracted to it too.
Yeah.
You know, when they feel that, they sense that, they gravitate towards it. And you know, I heard it might have been Gary Keller again, but I've heard, you know, that when you take the pressure off, you know, find some way to put it in your language, or when you're on the phone, like say something that takes the pressure off,
Yeah.
because it lets everyone, you know, let their hair down, just kind of like breathe a sigh of relief and just kind of like, okay, now we can just talk, because now I know you're not going to try to push me into something that I don't want to do. So now we can just have a conversation and just be real, right? And that's like all I care about in life, besides, you know, again, Jesus, my wife, my family, my kids, my brothers, my friends. Besides all that really important stuff, I just want to have like real conversations with people. I just want to be really real with people
Yeah.
and just, you know, just say what you mean and mean what you say, kind of thing. And so when you take that pressure off, people are actually more so attracted to actually working with you, because they know they're not going to be pushed into working with you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Good stuff. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all being on today. And those of y'all that watch later, hopefully it's helpful to you. Jay, big thanks to you. Keep crushing it, bro. Proud of you. Know your family's proud of you too, and ultimately our Heavenly Father's proud of you. So, but yeah, man, thank you for your time today, and hope everybody enjoys. Hope everybody stays safe out there and warm. And I'm not sure when our next one is, Jay, but we're gonna let everyone know, right? Unless you know somebody.
Yeah. I want to figure out a way to ask everyone in the group who's open to being interviewed. So I know we have a lot of talent out there, a lot of people who are crushing it. So I don't know if you guys if you're watching this and you just want to maybe post in the group or send Zoe or I a message and let us know that you want to be interviewed, or you're open to being interviewed, that'd be great. Just so it's a little bit easier to find you. But yeah, we're just looking for anyone who's, you know, feels like they have something to provide in terms of lead generation, and, you know, so we can all gather gold nuggets and, you know, build our businesses. So anyone who's open to it, let us know.
That's it.
All right.
Cool.
Thanks so much, guys. Thanks, Zoe.
Right.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you all. Thanks, Jay.
All right. See ya.
Later.